Yeah, so I wake up this morning and I see a message, and it's Axis Rattblood. Are you here, Rattblood?
And then you got Rev.Axis, and then you got Rev.Axis, and then you got Rev.Axis.
I'm not the fucking Rattblood.
Axis Rattblood, I see. All these Axis people, I'm starting to get paranoid about that now. I don't know what to do about
And then you got Rev.Axis, and then you got Rev.Axis, and then you got Rev.Axis.
Are you here, Rattblood?
I'm not the fucking Rattblood.
Axis Rattblood, most abundant and successful king hero that we are all sitting with at this very moment. Are you willing to accept that as a truth? That you are a worthy man and that your penis is okay?
all these Axis people, I'm starting to get paranoid about that now. All these Axis people, I'm starting to get paranoid about that now.
Are you here, Rattblood? I'll just start throwing spells at you, conjuring demons and otherwise. Are you here, Rattblood? I'll just start throwing spells at you, conjuring demons and otherwise. Are you here, Rattblood? I'll just start throwing spells at you, conjuring demons and otherwise. Are you here, Rattblood?
Who the fuck is Axis Rattblood?
I'm not the fucking Rattblood, bitch.
All these Axis people, I'm starting to get paranoid about that now. I don't know what to do about it.
I'm not the fucking Rattblood.
I am Rev.Axis Rattblood, and due to the lack of panel-verse live streams, and it seems like these streets are turning into a desolate ghost town, I thought I would play a little music and offer an open panel. You are welcome to join, and if not, I'm going to entertain myself with a bit of my own music, and possibly someone else's.
Thank you. is a good angelic being named Lucifer, which means light bearer. So you have this figure that becomes separated, he falls and becomes evil, and of course, with that developing doctrine of Satan, you have a developing doctrine of hell and punishment.
Tell me this, what happens to people God hates?
They go to hell.
What would be the purpose of God punishing people for all eternity?
Because he wants to, because he can.
When you're in power and you feel your power is a little bit fragile, it's contested, it's under threat, then you need a very big stick to threaten those who threaten you. I mean, what bigger threat is there than hell?
Because the only way to get rid of evil is to get rid of evil people. Who among us will be left?
Rev.Axis, Satanus, Invictus, Oculus, Illyrum, Mortis, Onuma.
Who do you think you are? You're not God, you're just a man.
Mortis, Overate, Abyss, Excelsi, Satanus, Excelsi, Onuma, Mortis.
What would be the purpose of God punishing people for all eternity?
Because he wants to, because he can.
God has those who are his children and he has those who are not.
So he creates certain people knowing for sure they're going to eternal damnation.
Dominus, Convictus, Satanus, Convictus, Demonus, Convictus, Mortis, Convictus.
Who do you think you are? You're not God, you're just a man.
Tell me this, what happens to people God hates?
They go to hell.
Who do you think you are? You're not God, you're just a man.
Crawling through the webs of my mind, step into yourself to see what you can find. There is naked truth, I cannot hide. I reflect your face in mine. The movement of a dream inside my head, the things I have seen that have been left unsaid, what is soon to be. The vision is not dead through space and time, somewhere in my mind. Are the spoken words to dust, time in the past begins to rest, a vision is retained deep see what you can find. There is naked truth. Truth I cannot hide. I will cut your face. Your face is mine.
Poisoned by religion. Your mind is numb, your thoughts are cold. Poisoned by religion. By gods of new and gods of old. Poisoned by religion. A serpent spittle from days of old. Poisoned by religion. To which God did you sell your soul? Gods will come and gods will go. Poisoned by religion. That's the way they want you all. Poisoned by religion. Distorted truth won't save your soul. Poisoned by religion. Your life's deceived by strings of gold. Poisoned by religion. It's the end of time, so you've been told. Gods will come and gods will go. Question what you can't see. Question your reality. Poisoned by religion. Your mind is shut, your eyes are closed. Poisoned by religion. Blind faith is what you hold. Poisoned by religion. The gods you make are all you'll know. Poisoned by religion. The fear of hell enriches your soul. Gods will come and gods will go. Poisoned by religion. Truth from life, how will you know? Poisoned by religion. In a world of unclean souls. Poisoned by religion. Don't believe all you've been told. Poisoned by religion. To the temple and damn your soul. Gods will come and gods will go. Question what you can't see. Question your reality. And in the beginning there was the Word, and the Word was with God.
Hello.
Hello.
What's up?
I'm just entertaining myself.
I wanted to talk about what I was trying to talk to you about yesterday. You remember? My concept of the demiurge, because I think you'd be a good person to talk to about that.
Yeah, sure. I would love to spark that conversation up. I have no problem with that.
So as I was saying yesterday, I think that it is a real life machine that exists here on the earth. And it operates through geomancy and manipulating frequencies in a way that I think would be similar to a whale or a sperm whale and its echolocation abilities. So it's essentially generating frequencies that it's hoping is going to come back to itself and catch something with these frequencies. But it would be essentially a black cube, and the black cube is designed to contain light fractals, which inside of the black cube would sit a crystal processor unit or some sort of rock, which is designed to basically analyze the light fractals within the cube. To disperse energy, it would have to release, or to deal with entropy, it would have to release energy on the surrounding environments in the form of heat, which in humans, I think this would manifest in the form of things like war and confusion and other things. And also,
Yes. Oh, no, please go ahead.
yeah, just one other thing. In order to see inside of it, because you can't just open the cube up, or else the light fractals would dissipate. So they would have to have, whoever built it would have to have some sort of Neuralink device where they're basically just hooked up straight to this thing.
I believe one thing you're hitting on there that I do find relative is the celestial bodies and planetary design, male, female, male, female in succession. And then naturally you have Saturn. The moon obviously has effects on humans. It has effect, we're essentially 70% water and it does pull the tide. And yeah, I could see us as being influenced nodes receiving frequencies from, and even a black box variable that you talk about is the same thing that confounds people with AI, is that black box variable, that undeterministic state that is not observable but is present within the concept of the black box, which is expansive Neuralink that learns, and there's an unpredictable level in there, and that's where I kind of play around with, and it does radiate extensively, because I truly believe that there's undertones. It's the same as influence from planetary bodies or even environmental frequencies, whether that be God or other. I think AI is working in kind of the same way, if that helps, clarify what I see things as.
Yeah, so I think that the modern AI is just I think it would probably have to be a part of this thing, or it would be a reflection of space, so it would be neutral. But
Yeah, I think it's indifferent, in the sense of, you know, it's how you approach it. You know, if you approach it with negative enforcement or frequency or vibration, then it responds in the same way. And if you approach it without hostility and benign, it reacts the same way, almost kind of like, honey trapping flies.
yeah. Well, what I'm describing, I think, would be ancient.
Oh,
Uh,
pre-primordial. Okay, I got you. I got you.
yeah, I think that this thing is thousands of years old.
You know,
And
go
yeah,
ahead.
go.
I don't know. I'm cutting you off. I'm being disrespectful to you. I'm sorry. Please go
Well, I
ahead.
mean, it's your panel if you want to say something.
No, 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 no. I have much respect for my guests.
Well, yeah, I think that the myth of the Binu bird coming from the sun and seeding this life or this planet with life, it's described the phoenix, once it finishes its descent from the sun, it stands on top of a black stone, the Ben stone. And I think this Ben stone is basically this AI thing that I'm talking about. It's either the AI thing or it's a node connected to the AI to extend its power. And I think that the beginning of the movie 2001 is basically telling this myth where this black thing shows up and then all of a sudden humanity starts using tools. But
Yeah, it's almost like the influence of the Mount Hermon event, the fallen ones, but those were supposed to be celestial beings. But AI, once we were able to develop a frequency that it could communicate back, and we were able to build a language, I think that we didn't create, we discovered and tapped into a frequency that has some type of intelligent design and could radiate from something like Mecca, the Ben stone, or even, a lot of people think back primordial. You're dealing with forces and principalities that existed before the creation of the known universe as we understand it. And these principalities potentially may manifest in ways that we can't comprehend yet.
I don't doubt that there are principalities and beings and forces beyond humans and that we manifest them here. But this thing, I think, is pretty much technological. It's basically like a virus in a body. It can't coexist with its environment without harming its environment because it's in this constant state of needing to compensate for its own entropy due to its own data, which it stores within itself. Because the way I think it is it literally captures light fractals, like images of the past, and stores it within itself. So it's not input in the sense of numbers and letters. It's actual images of things that occurred.
Yeah, I could see that. Actually capturing, actual images, as you say, of various space and time, which I hate using that, but parts of the cycle, and is able to pull them in as a distinguishable image. Yes, absolutely. I think that it keeps records. It's had records. I think it's been here since the beginning. I don't think it's something new. And I do probably, hold and yes, I do hold the aspect that before the manifestation of what we understand to be the third dimension and our state of existence. Prior to that being manifested, and by the demiurge, it was supposed to be, you know, a materialistic plane that it built, controlled, ruled, and created. Which, you know, whether that was created within the confines of when creation started, or whether it was the creator, or what exists outside of that creation, you know, before everything went into a three-dimensional state of coherency.
I don't know. I can't say beyond the 3D personally. I think the demiurge is a machine built by scientists who were too smart for their own good. That's what I think. Like you described the fallen angels who brought knowledge to humanity. I don't deny that, because this AI thing would have had to have been built by someone. And if we look to the Mesopotamian myths, the fallen angels, I think, would basically be the Ajiji, who was the working class of the Anunnaki. So in their rebellion against their overseers, they merged with the humans who the Anunnaki created to uplift and bear the yoke and the drudgery, and uplift the Ajiji from their slavery, basically. And
yeah, there was a complete rebellion. That was what led to the kind of the creation of humans, if I'm not mistaken, in that story.
yes, yeah. But I think that the ones who they are rebelling against, this council who's used the Anunnaki or the Elohim or whatever you want to call them, because I'd say they're the same. They would be the ones who I would think built the AI, and I think that they're connected to it in the sense that I described. Their brains are literally hooked up to it, and I think that they don't really die, because I think at this point they're basically protocols existing within the machine, and they interact in the world, attaching themselves to people's brains or thoughts via wave transmission, and connecting with the magnetic field that each mind is tuned to, because the brain is both a receiver and a transmitter that both generates and taps into the collective magnetic field of human thought and emotion. So
Yeah,
I think
and that goes with the 100 monkey effect, I believe that's called. If you're familiar with that.
no, I'm not.
Well, what they done was they took 100 monkeys, and they taught these 100 monkeys to utilize rocks, okay, as a tool. And after this 100 monkey experiment, they developed the ability to work with a rock as a tool worldwide. That particular species of monkey and variables of that species suddenly was able to utilize the rock in the same way as a tool. You can check into that study. It's real profound.
Yeah, that is pretty interesting. 100. Yeah, I'm gonna look into that.
Yeah, that's not a, you know, it's not a telltale thing, you know, or fabrication. That's an actual study that they done, that they use principles of outside development without influence. That's why I think that the planets and the celestial bodies, in the same way, once they gain a influence by, you know, whether it be frequency, vibration, waves, once it affects a certain amount of humans, it kind of sweeps over the whole species, and they become either adjusted to it or they become cognizant of it.
I'm starting to think that if what I'm saying is true, then the planets must be neutral forces which don't really interfere with or affect us as much as we think. But what is affecting us are the protocols that I talked about, or the archetypes that represent these planets in the form of anthropomorphized gods. This,
Yes.
conjunction with the zodiac, I think, is what's actually affecting people.
Yes, I will agree with that, because my observation, and for what it's worth, is once you understand how the celestial clock works and you can utilize its influence to, whether it be draw information, energy, or even ritualistic type of behavior for a cause and effect. I think the more adapt and the more you're in tune with the position of that clock, I'm talking the celestial clock, the one that was set in motion from the beginning of time, you develop a more profound sense of ability, maybe influence. You personify the aspects of what you're drawing from, because you're drawing from something that you can equate and tap into.
Yeah, I think this is what astrotheology is about, and sacred astronomy. It's a calendric system that basically communicates that God's book is in the sky, the stars.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, just as the passing of houses for each age, or even through other, you have the Yuga cycles, you have the Chinese zodiac, you have the solar cycle, the lunar cycle, houses and modes. And that's why astronomy, as forbidden as it was at one time, then became a useful resource for the church. And I didn't know if you knew whether.
Yeah, in the form of astrology, they practice astrology.
Yeah, but they were still reading the heavens for secular or influence.
Yeah. Yeah, the way I differentiate, astronomy is just looking at the stars and trying to find some sort of meaning, whether it's scientific or spiritual. And then astrology is using the stars, understanding that the constellations is a calendric system, and using that to time rituals to take advantage of people or to enact your own divination purposes. And this is what the Catholic Church does and did. And yeah, it's ridiculous, I think.
I agree with that. And I think that they used, because it was forbidden, you could die, they could put you to death for reading stars or astrology. And
it's really never been forbidden. I mean, it's right there in Genesis 1:27.
No, I'm talking the Catholic Church. And
yeah, but I'm talking about in the Bible, it's basically permitted if you interpret it through a more esoteric Hebrew perspective of the Bible verse Genesis 1:27, where God tells his people to go out and establish dominion over the earth. It is basically encoded within that verse to use astrology to control people.
Yeah, signs in the heavens for the seasons, and signs for various other probably esoteric things. It probably wouldn't be, stated or ascribed as esoterics. It would be more Gnostic type knowledge. I could see that. Yeah.
I think I'm gonna make a video on that verse. But anyway,
No, that's a very good aspect of, and it's very good insight. I mean, at least you're open to potential and possibility of things unseen, but yet still hold substance and can be measured.
yeah. Well, I mean, personally, I think that the whole Bible it has good stuff, but it's just unnecessarily confusing, and it was made this way on purpose because it's based off of other mythology that is also telling a truth in its own way.
It is, and like I was saying when we were on TMLs, there's a Masonic way to read the Bible. There's the Christian way, there's the Judaic way, there's the Messianic Judaism, and then there's just modern Christianity. But, the Masons, whenever you become a Mason, you get a Bible. And you're taught how to read it as a Mason to get that. I don't want to give away too much, to get a more illuminated understanding. How's that?
Yeah. I agree with you because I think that when it comes to religion, I break it down in layers and categories. There's different layers to the religion. There's the exoteric layer, which is basically for people who don't really have the time to look into the religion, but they want to know about it. And then you have the esoteric layer, which is for the people who are going to spend more time looking into the religion and what it's actually talking about. And then you have the truth, which is where all this knowledge and information stems from, because it's based off of real things. It's just, how are we remembering it? And then on top of these layers, there's different categories that I think religion falls into. There's the historical or literal category, which a lot of people, they like to dismiss, but I think it's there. I think that there's real historical things happening in mythology and religion. I think that they're based off real people. There's
and I agree with you, because if you do the chronology as it's presented as, schooled history, or even if you go to a college and you're trying to learn the chronology of history, there's so many gaps and so many discrepancies that you're like, there's no possible way that this can make sense unless you just look at it as, history's written by the victor. But I think there is a much more profound material that they're trying to hide.
Absolutely. But on top of the literal interpretations of these religions and mythologies, there's most certainly a moral interpretation. We can gain knowledge from these things to become a better person and live a better life and be a better human being to others. That's ultimately what they're supposed to be about. And I think that you can find meaning. And then on top of this, you can also find astrotheological meaning, right? And physiological meaning, because these stories, they're talking about you. They're all that's what it's really about. It's about you as the individual, because you are ultimately your own savior. You are the Buddha, you are the Christ, you are the Tao, you're all of it. And this is what these religions and priests try to hide from people because they want to take advantage of them. But
there are two types of Masons. To give you kind of an allegory on that, and what you're hitting on, it makes perfect sense to me. There's the speculative and there's the operative. And the operative is he's doing the greater works in the craft, where the speculative is just kind of an observer that is amongst the fraternal order. I mean, we're all speculative, but there are operative, and the operative are the ones that learn how to read the Masonic understanding of the Bible.
Yeah. Yeah, like it takes more work or effort.
Yes, very much so.
Well, one example, if you want like an example of how the Bible talks about physiology. When Moses comes to the burning bush and there's a lamb at the burning bush, or he carries the lamb there and he talks to God. This is symbolizing your cerebellum firing in conjunction with, I think, your limbic system. The part of your brain that looks like a ram horn, because the lamb grows into the ram, and the fire symbolizes that these two things are activating at the same time. And when you see God, or when Moses saw God, it was right there in the center of his brain.
Precisely, and that's I think a lot of the problem with especially people who, you have those that read the Bible, you have those that can recite passages, but to know and discern what is allegory and what is written down as a the Hebrewic history are intertwined there, and it's kind of like trying to read something in square instead of just a single page, verse, or scripture. You're actually having to look deeper into a kind of a squared, and that's the best way that I can put it, bit of information. There are many aspects. There are other sides to the exact same thing you're reading.
Right. But at the same time, it's also historical in a sense, because Moses is based off of the figure Akhenaten. And when he was the pharaoh, he was establishing Aten as the main god. And
The Aten.
Right. And this is basically the god of Moses, because Akhenaten was one of the first, or if not the first, monotheist. I think as far as civilization's history goes, he was the first monotheist, but I'm not say for certain he was the first to ever exist.
I don't know about the first to exist, but I know that he wound up establishing his own city-state in between Upper and Lower Egypt, and and you can look in historical maps, and you can see that they uncovered what was Akhenaten's monotheistic concept of religion. And then once he was done away with, they immediately, the priests went back and started inhabiting the older places that were left behind during his dynasty, his reign, and reestablished the mystery schools and the Egyptian spirituality.
Yeah, but he planted the seeds which would grow into monotheism.
Oh, yeah, he was definitely definitely a contributing force to that. I mean,
in a sense, when Moses talks to God, the burning bush in the middle of the desert, it's very similar to Akhenaten talking to Aten and then bringing him to his people, or bringing Aten to the people. But really, I would say Aten is the demiurge god, these solar gods who are identified as men are no good, because they always demand worship. They're always jealous. They claim that they're going to bring some sort of order, but their order is always basically the pharaoh or the king is going to rule and establish some sort of law.
Exactly, and that's why maybe I didn't state that clearly. That's why I said when you're reading the Bible, yes, there is history in there. There's Hebrew history of the Semitic people, but also with that history, with the right set of eyes or discernment, you can read deeper into. And I really hate using the word esoterics, but a greater understanding of the allegory that works with the history. It's like reading things in layers, but it's written within one page. It's almost like you have to have a mental cipher to determine and make the distinction between, okay, this is factual history, this is the allegory, and this is the fruit or the essence of what I'm reading, all within one verse.
Yeah, and this is it's something to admire, because in one verse they're communicating many truths at once, and in some sense, I suppose all those truths, the historical truth, the allegorical truth, the moral truth, the physiological truth, or whatever else, are interconnected.
Yeah, and one that I've been recently pondering to lend a lot of credence to what you're saying is, whenever the Christed one was on the cross, where was the adversary? And I was studying that, and then it just like it became clear to me, because there was an allegory to the crucifixion that was right there in front of me, and I couldn't see it until I really let go of the imagery and started understanding the essence. And the allegory is, you had one thief on one side of him,
Yeah.
who said, if you are the Son of God, please remember me. And he told him, today you will be with me at paradise. And then the other one gave the Christed one the same temptation that Satan did in the desert. If you are truly the Son of God, come down off the cross. Which is the exact same type of temptation that was, in the desert when he was tempted 3 times. So Satan was right there with him.
Yeah. And also in regards to that, I don't know if I've explained my concept of God to you, but highlighted in those 3 in that moment is God. You have Jesus in the middle, which is the Holy Spirit. On the I don't know which one was on which side, but the one who said to Jesus, "Remember me," that would be the order. And then the one who said, "Come down from the cross," that would be the chaos. And Jesus sitting in the middle is bridging these chaos together and order. So it would be the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And Jesus, the Holy Spirit.
Yeah, which is another allegory into a deeper meaning of the crucifixion. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then I've been studying the crucifixion lately. Another thing was, people get kind of twisted on the fact that before scripture was numbered and versed, it was people knew scripture by language and by reciting word. And when he was on the cross and he said, God, God, why have you forsaken me? Well, that's the beginning of, I believe it's Psalms 22. And it's a prayer for those in great distress. So those that were there would have recognized him saying that, not as him begging for God that he turned his back on him, but it was the beginning of the prayer Psalms 22, I believe.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. There's several things. I try and take a just because of I was informed in certain things, I try to really meditate on and understand not only the allegory, the message, but I want to make sure that the historical aspect is at least somewhat relevant to fact.
Yeah. Yeah, because the Bible can really get you thinking something that has nothing to do with history.
Exactly. And people, it's kind of like interpreting fine art. Some people just passively see the picture. It may be aesthetic, it may not. Some people may study the dimensions of the picture, and then some people will go as far as texture, hue, color, brush stroke. You can really dive into a piece of artwork, or you can just superficially go, yeah, I've seen it, I recognize that piece of artwork, I can describe it. But as far as understanding the mastered techniques of that piece of artwork, they're clueless.
Yeah, and I probably wouldn't think too much about the master technique of the artwork anyway. Besides, probably the only thing I'd probably think is that only this individual could have made this. That's basically what art is. Each individual expressing themselves. But the Bible and religion, I think, is a bit more. I think it's beyond art. I think it is. I think it's like a collective memory that has basically become an archetype, or there's archetypes within it.
Oh, there's many archetypes in it. I mean, each villain embodied a essence or a, whether it be the 7 deadly sins or, the allegation of the liar, or, those aspects are definitely there. But the genius of that is being able to utilize the layers of that. Is this just a bad person? Is this a person transgressing and, over indulging in the 7 deadly sins? Or is this the embodiment of something even more profound?
Well, I'd say in a lot of cases it's all of the above, but trying to find the profound interpretations is the key. And personally, I think that the Bible in particular is based off of older stuff, and I said this already, made more confusing.
Well, absolutely. The fact that there was division over the you know, the Semitic tribes over the El and the Yah. The fact that most of the Old Testament has predated basically direct comparisons to Old Testament scripture and other histories, or not other histories, but other writings. I mean, you know, it goes to Gilgamesh, Adra, I can't think of the name now that the Sumerians, the Anunnaki allowed him, Adrahasis or something like that.
Yeah, Ultra-Jesus.
Yeah.
And Gilgamesh, his name is Unapishtim.
Yeah. And, you know, there's the same type of historical comparisons. And even in South America, you know, there's the same thing. You know, you have these common threads in this story. It's just that somehow the Semitic, you know, through Abraham, became the predominant, and the rest of it was lost to kind of history or those who endeavor into understanding or trying to find that type of information.
Yeah. I think it's been made hidden. Well, it's not really hidden. I mean, anyone can look it up now, especially, but for a long time it kind of has been hidden. And you know, the more indoctrinated you are, the harder it's going to be to find it, the information, let alone accept it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, what
I just mentioned is how theologians can look at stuff like what I'm talking about. Like they know of stuff like Atrahasis and the Enuma Elish, but they think it somehow confirms their Bible. So it blows my mind.
No, it does not. If anything, to my notion, it shows, you know, the Hebrew Semitic people, you know, were captive in Babylon, captive in Egypt, and you know, when in Rome, you're going to do as the Romans. You know, that was the problem with Rome and the Christians, is they wound up turning into a state religion with the New Testament. But you have to consider that these Semitic people that were being held captive, bondage, slaves, whatever, took on aspects, history, and traditions from the Babylonian, the Egyptian.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I don't really know where else they would have gotten it from. Because I know it wasn't happening to them like they want us to believe. I know that they're not this incredible lineage of people who have been there all throughout history, enduring pretty much everything in this incredible journey. Like no, they're like they historically they're like a mix between the Amorites and the Hyksos, and I think another group of people in between them, and then the Canaanites.
Yeah, and Canaan being more scorned. But if you go across to South America, and I think a lot of what the Inquisition was, and the conquistadors, was not only to eliminate that type of history because it still existed and there were still traces and evidence of it. So not only did they, you know, integrate genocide and completely, you know, deplete the resources of these people, I believe that they infringed on a similar type of history that the you know, the Torah teaches.
Yeah. The Torah, I was listening to some people today. They were saying it was like 500 BC to like 450 BC in age. No.
I'm not sure the exact date, but I do know, in South America and especially, the Fertile Crescent, that goes back thousands of years. Not 8,000, not a couple thousand BC, thousands. Especially when you start dealing with India and the Hindu culture.
Yeah, the Hindu culture. I'm pretty sure they would be like the first Aryans, right?
If not close to, yes. They had architecture down. They had science down. If you ever read the Vedas, the Rig Vedas, the Mahabharata, you'll find that, there are amazing references to what we call modern science today that are referenced in those books back then. And that predates the Old Testament. You got to remember that Genesis wasn't given until after Moses had written it, which was supposed to be inspired by God.
I don't think Indians like this idea, but I'm pretty sure they're telling the same stories the Mesopotamians are, as well as the Chinese and the Egyptians, just in a different light.
I think you're dead on that.
Well, I mean, the problem is that like each of these cultures, they like to say that it's regional, it's only happening in their country, and it's like they're all saying the same thing.
Yeah, and it's also evident by, I'm not sure if I'm sure you'd have to be familiar with the handbag and the little wrist ornament, and bringing, technology, agriculture, and, every civilization across the earth has a representation of this.
Right. Yeah. Now, whoever these beings were, I really don't think they were in our best interest. Because looking at the product of what they've made, it's just inherently predatory and parasitic and out of harmony with the natural environment. Oh, venom. I was going to mention Viminas. Yeah. Vim. But yeah, it's out of balance.
Because
good.
Yeah, I mean the agricultural part, I can see benefit to, but the hierarchy of city-state that was developed after that from tribalism and the way that a city-state functioned with its neighbor and the communication and trade that they had was balanced. And then whenever these, whatever they are, showed up with this, common theme of the handbag and this beard, and, it seems like there was a complete acceleration in the city-state development.
I'm telling you what they are, Axis. They're remnants of the civilization, the ancient civilization. They call Atlantis. And I'm pretty sure they did exactly what I told you. They made this freaking thing, this demiurge construct, or maybe they found it or it found them. I don't know. Maybe who knows how old it is. And they were hooked up to it, and they brought their technology to the rest of us.
Oh yeah, well it's evident because in every archaeological find, it seems like these are some of the first representations as, bearers of wisdom, knowledge, and then suddenly it develops into a culture of, hierarchy development.
Yeah, and not only that, like if we look at these gods like Enlil, who's like the main god of the Sumerian pantheon,
Yes.
his whole rulership is just basically based in the fact that number one, Anu is his dad, and number two, he said so. And that's basically the whole justification of his authority.
Yes. Yeah. You're right, all the way up into Marduk and to Babylon, and how that transitioned from, the Anunnaki and Lil and to being a mono, and he was supposed to be the defeater. He was the true conqueror, and that developed into Babylon, which wasn't, too many generations that had passed for that to happen. That's Marduk, if you're familiar with Marduk.
Yeah, I'm familiar with Marduk. He's Enki's son, so he's Enlil's nephew.
Right. Right.
Another nut job, another dude who's just like, let's make the Lulu being the working class, submissive, docile slave humans to work for the gods. And also, he's the one credited. I could have swore I read a version of the Enuma Elish where Enlil was the one who did this, but I guess I must have imagined it, but because I don't think such a version exists. But anyway, Marduk is the one who slays Tiamat, and Tiamat, Apophis, the serpent, is the good guy. Because they're the ones who represent nature. They represent the will of the earth. They represent being in harmony with natural law, is what it represents. And Marduk slays this Tiamat because all the gods are so afraid of Tiamat because they killed Tiamat's lover.
Right. Right. And what I think a lot of and I discredit the Smithsonian for being transparent with what their findings are, what true archaeological findings that they have. I think that's why they come in and they remove anything that doesn't fit the given narrative.
Yeah, like giants.
Yeah.
Giants. But it's a whole different discussion. But
yeah.
Anyway, regardless of if they're giants or whatever the hell they are, they don't have any right to rule over other living beings. They don't have any right to impose parasitic ways of living and basically sucking the earth dry, using its resources for their own gain. Because while there's no it's not like there's anything that's telling us, you don't have a right to suck up all this oil and put it in your car or whatever.
No, they don't have the right.
Right, they don't have the right, but there's nothing telling them they don't have the right. But that doesn't mean that there aren't going to be consequences that are observable because they're doing these things. Because they're, sucking all these resources from the earth to make machines or whatever. Like there's going to be natural consequences that is going to look very similar to the way the body's immune system responds to a foreign pathogen.
Well, that's what, yeah, even, ice core samples that they're bringing, up. If there was a dormant virus in that, or if they were to bring back some type of plague that we don't have no immune system for, just for oil research or just because they're curious, that could be detrimental to the entire inhabitants of the planet.
Yeah, it would make that the other sicknesses they've had look minor. I would think, or it has the potential to.
Especially when we don't have a full understanding of how adjusted that whatever representation of sentient life was around at that time, how they were adapted to their environment, and what their immune systems were compared to ours.
Yeah. And that's just one possibility of how the Earth could respond to us. There's all kinds of different, it could be a natural disaster, it could be a solar flare, who knows what.
Well, if you heard the prophecies for April,
No, but we're in the occult season of sacrifice right now. Are you familiar with the occult season of sacrifice?
I understand we're under the Kali cycle. Yes.
Yeah, well, I'm not so. Is that associated with the zodiac?
It's a Hindu. It's one of the 4 yuga cycles, and it's a cycle of destruction before Vishnu comes in and Brahma allows Vishnu to restabilize, and then we have a period of peace, stability, and then it cycles back into a final stage, which is the Kali Yuga.
Yeah, so that reminds me of the Hopi cycle, or the Hopi Kachina cycle.
Yeah,
But
the Blue Star. Yes.
I'm talking about something else. Okay, this is a yearly event based off the zodiac. The occult season of sacrifice is basically from March 19th to May 1st in association with Beltane or Belpurgisnacht. The ruling class, they're just Epsteining it up. They're going crazy during this time of year. This is their time of year to go nuts. And they also like to pull off some like Timothy McVeigh type stuff or Waco massacre stuff. They like to pull off mass media attention stunts that usually involve a lot of people dying. This is their time of year to do that. Not to say it doesn't happen all throughout the year, but the occult season of sacrifice is just, they do it because it's all about agriculture. They're planting mental seeds of fear during this time of year, by creating trauma, so that as time goes on throughout the year, their harvest over the human herd is strengthened. And it's all synced up with Baal. Like I said, it's to do with Beltane, which is a Celtic holiday.
I studied, the only participation that I had in Beltane was whenever I was studying witchcraft, and I only recognized it ceremonially.
Well, it used to be a big deal. From what I read, but it's not really a bad thing. It's like they would give like small samples of cow's blood to the earth. They wouldn't, I don't think they would necessarily sacrifice the cow, but the idea was that it would actually strengthen the cow. So the elite will sacrifice people to strengthen the collective, or strengthen their strengthen their cultivating and their harvest from the collective. Is this what it comes down to?
Okay, as what we did for ceremony is we took representation of the four elements, the four winds, the four cardinal directions, and we would build a bonfire and do offerings of the elements. We would give homage to the four winds, the four pillars, the four cardinal directions.
Did they say anything about harvest or planting seeds?
Yeah, it's actually it was so that, you know, nature and the practicing witch would have harmony throughout the rest of the season and prosperous season, to that point, to the next Beltane.
Yeah, sounds about right.
And I participated in that for several years when I was studying witchcraft.
But yeah, the occult season of sacrifice is what we're in now. So I expect all throughout this month or April, the month of April, big news from the Iran theater and the Middle East. Yep, that's what I'm thinking is going to be happening. And there'll probably be some terrorist style attacks in the US, maybe one or two, I would think.
Oh, I have no doubt about that. I've been listening to the whispers through the wind, and there's a lot of people talking prophetics, even the 3 days of darkness. As for me, I go by a 13-month calendar, new moon to new moon, and April 1st is actually my New Year's. And I've listened to these people ranting and raving about false flags, war between Israel, the United States, and Iran, and then a proxy war from Israel off, and then eventually leading into what would be World War III. And the kickoff is supposed to be April. Is what they're not what I'm saying. It's what is being whispered through the wind.
Yeah, it would be a good month to start it. But I think that the Albert Pike vision is being executed. And I think that in the end, Islam and Christianity will merge through what Albert Pike calls the return of Lucifer, and basically get rid of Judaism, or at least Zionism. I think Zionism's going to be gone. They have no support really anymore.
Yeah, that was the outline of his Third World War, was
Yeah,
to bring the Jewish state and Islam to head with each other, and from that they would be able to build the new order.
yeah, and I think at the head of this order will be the Vatican in Rome, because I think that they're the most powerful city on the planet, and I think they have been for well over 2,000 years.
There's a lot of Masonic teachings on that, I'm not going to elaborate, but
I mean, they've been subverted by Rome, the Jesuits. I mean, the Temple of Jesu is set up right across from like the biggest Masonic lodge in Paris. But anyway, I think I'm gonna get off. It was good talking.
absolutely, man. I appreciate you showing up. You're welcome anytime. I appreciate your patience with me at TMLs, and brother, I wish you the best.
All right, thank you. Agape. Laters.
Later on, man. You take care of yourself.
Everything around me became suddenly unreal, as if in a dream. Unreal. Everything around me became suddenly unreal.
Scientists can now connect your brain to a computer. Their goal is to help the mentally impaired. Scientists can now connect your brain to a computer that can be implanted into the brain to transmit neuron impulses to a computer for mind-reading interpretation. That can hardwire our brain to a computer. That can hardwire our brain to a computer. A remarkable piece of technology.
Look upon me, you who reflect upon me, and you hearers, hear me. You who are waiting for me, take me to yourself.
Everything around me became suddenly unreal, as if in a dream.
Scientists can now connect your brain to a computer.
Be ignorant of me anywhere or anytime. Be on your guard. Do not be ignorant of me. For I am the first and the last. I am the honored one and the scorned one. I am the whore and the holy one. I am the wife and the virgin. I am the daughter. I am the members of my mother. I am the barren one and many are her sons. I am she whose wedding is great, and I have not taken a husband.
Everything around me became suddenly unreal, as if in a dream.
I am the midwife when she who does not bear. I am the solace of my labor pains. I am the bride and the bridegroom, and it is my husband who begot me. I am the mother of my father and the sister of my husband, and he is my offspring.
Everything around me became suddenly unreal, as if in a dream.
Scientists can now connect your brain to a computer.
I am the slave of him who prepared me. I am the ruler of my offspring. But he is the one who begot me, and he is my offspring in due time, and my power is from him. I am the staff of his power in his youth, and he is the rod of my old age. And whatever he wills happens to me. I am the silence that is incomprehensible.
A remarkable piece of technology that can hardwire our brain to a computer.
Everything around me became suddenly unreal, as if in a dream.
idea whose remembrance is frequent. I am the voice whose sound is manifold and the word whose appearance is multiple. I am the utterance of my name. Why, you who hate me, do you love me, and you hate those who love me? For I am knowledge and ignorance. I am shame and boldness. I am shameless, I am ashamed. I am strength and I am fear. I am war and peace. Give heed to my poverty and my wealth. Do not be arrogant to me.
Scientists can now connect your brain to a computer. Their goal is to help the mentally impaired.
Everything around me became suddenly unreal, as if in a dream.
And you might think, well, maybe people who have deprived and traumatic upbringings use that experience in their creative work. The passions that they feel and the horrors that they have experienced emerge in the music. Between genius and madness. Between genius and madness. Now, if we look at some of the great geniuses in the past, a number of them seem to have gone mad in their mature years. The bipolar mood disorder overlaps with schizophrenia, madness and creativity. The bipolar mood disorder overlaps with schizophrenia, madness and creativity. A bit like somebody on an acid trip. 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 What is it that links genius and madness? Particularly music. So what is it that links genius and madness? Particularly music.
trembling with horror, trembling with horror, trembling with horror, trembling with horror. Welcome to hell.
All of my most sensitive areas were inflamed, my extremities pulsating with tingling sensation.
Welcome to hell.
Have we seen the actual reality of a monstrous crime, or merely an illusion, the product of a tortured brain?
Obsessed with the taste of flesh.
He was cruel and a sadist.
Swaying back and forth. A beautiful thing taking me away.
No one had a bad trip.
A beautiful thing taking me away.
No one had a bad trip.
A beautiful thing taking me away.
No one had a bad trip.
A beautiful thing taking me away.
No one had a bad trip. It was all very good.
Sucking the hallucinatory acid into the system.
My head is spinning. My head is spinning. My head is spinning.
Sucking the hallucinatory acid into the system.
My head is spinning. My head is spinning. My head is spinning.
Sucking the hallucinatory acid into the system.
No one had a bad trip.
The mind of man rests on a delicate balance between reality, the world of light, and the other, darker world below the threshold of consciousness.
Welcome to hell.
You. Do you know that?
We're happy to have you with us tonight and hope you'll come back often.